Family, family. Oh, we. Mm, heavy, heavy, heavy. I'm a lighten this load. I'm a lighten this load, man. Certain things, man, that if you let them weigh on you, it would definitely take a toll, take a heavy toll from you. And one of the main things I'm facing right now, the toll of being myself, even at the expense of mm, losing during everything else. Um, Only for me to find out, you know, the things that I feel like I'm losing, even those things are a result of me losing myself, what I assumed about myself, at least. You know what I'm saying? What I assume about myself. Need the family to get on in here so we can make sure we got good volume, everything coming in clear. Um, I also want to get a few things clear. I don't do this for attention for myself. Um, you know, to puff myself up in any way, if anything, try to bring attention to a few things that is vital to us all. It's vital to us all. A few things that I feel like often go overlooked. You know what I'm saying? Often go overlooked, and we learn many different lessons upon people passing away, um, people succumbing to the weight that they carry. And oftentimes people carry weights because it's hard for them to just be themselves. Hard for them to just be themselves. Be honest about certain things that they feel like are important. Like, and I'll be honest, I feel like it's more important the overall well being of the whole, meaning all of my people, or what would be in the best interest of my people versus what's, what I've been told to believe is in my best interest. Individualism. But truth be told, if I was really self-involved, I would pay attention to the facts of how it hurts me when people that I love are hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like, so as much as I want to make it all about me, it's impossible. Um, and I say it's impossible because we be honest about our faculties. We be honest about how we are wired. Um, we can say all day we don't care about how other people see us. We can say all day we don't care about how other people feel, but we can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe levels to how much you feel. So, baby, it might be levels to how much you feel. You might have trained yourself enough to not feel as much as you once did. It's a little wind out here today. Bear with me. Um, you might have trained yourself to not feel as much as you once did. You might have trained yourself to not speak on certain things. You feel me? You might have trained yourself to be like, you know what, I'm just not gonna touch it. Act like it don't matter to distract me. And mind you, I still haven't got into the topic that But I feel like it's all one, you feel me? But I would encourage you to pay more attention to yourself because one day it's gonna get to a point that you can't avoid yourself. And all the time that you cause yourself avoiding yourself is gonna come rushing in to the point it's gonna chase you around the room. And look up one day and think about all the things that you could have did up until now, all the time that you could have put in to your goals, your passion, um, your purpose, however you choose to word it, to the point that now it's like, dang, it's like the walls closing in. I could have did so much more with my life. But now it's like I'm on with the divine. It's like I'm on the downside of my life or on the downturn of my life to the point that I got more days behind me than I got ahead of me, so to speak. That's how I've heard it being put. Got more days behind me than I got ahead of me to the point that it's feeling like, man, I'm trying to make up for lost time. I'm gonna tell you something that hit me while I was first preparing to have this conversation with y'all. Like, be present in every moment because for as much as good stuff happen, right? Even if you don't choose to be grateful, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got to that point that you ain't told know that just as much good stuff happening to you, just as much bad stuff. And if you in that space where it's like, man, it seems like a whole bunch of bad stuff keep happening. It's like I done struggled for so long. I done went through bad for so long. I done felt like I had to endure for so long. Just know your reign of good, your reign of thriving. You thought you was just surviving or you thought you was just struggling. Oh, no, no, no. It's got to be just as long. It's got to be just as long. So be present, please. Please be present for all of these moments that you feel like things is not working in your favor. All of these moments you feel like, hold on, this ain't how I wanted it to be. And also, be present enough to know that getting into what download was given to me today. How many times you assume things about people as though we knew them? We assume that, this person was this way. We assume that this person was mean, or we assume that this person didn't care. We got to know that person only to find out that ain't even who they are. That ain't how they are. The time before you got to know that, you start seeing, you start to believe that they was that way. They look a little beside themselves, you know what I'm saying? They look like they was mean. They look like they look they look like they didn't care. They look like they couldn't stand you. They look like they ain't even love you. Only for you to realize, for some people, it might have been too late, to salvage, the relationship because you allow for yourself to grow bitter. It might have been too late because now that person done, passed away, you know what I'm saying, in the sense of they can't tell you or show you how much they loved you the whole time. Um, but like I said, be present enough to notice like your good as well as your bad to the point that when that bad turned good, you can remember like, man, For so long, it seemed like it was just gonna be this way. And I even assumed that it would always be this way. I assumed that it wasn't no light at the end of the tunnel. I assumed that I would always be wrong. I would never get it right. But there are certain things that happen along the way that let me know, hold on. Hmm, I think I was wrong about that. I think I was definitely wrong about that. And I give you something that may be anecdotal to some people because it's my own experiences, right? I remember growing up, the only boy, and having older sisters, right? Seeing like I couldn't even I couldn't even walk in the room right. You know what I'm saying? Like just me coming in the room was wrong. You know what I mean? Like it didn't matter how I came in, what I had to say when I got there. It was just wrong. And it got to a point that, even with talking to my mom, like it would lead to a whole conversation, a dissertation about how I shouldn't say things that way, or how I should appreciate you tapping the screen, love. How I should watch my tone. You know, I don't know about y'all. Not to put you too much in the business, but hey, I gotta be me. I gotta be me, and if my truth, man, look. First thing I ever told anybody when I got a chance to stand in front of people, if me telling the truth make you an enemy, then so be it. We probably weren't never cool to begin with. We probably weren't never cool to begin with, so ain't no use in neither one of us faking it. And when I come from a background where, hey, majority of my friends, we got the fighting. We got the fighting from the jump. We got the fighting from the jump. Let me see where your energy at. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see what you really willing to stand on. Like, I ain't look. Let me take a look. Nah, fuck that. Fuck that. So I'm talking to my mom, and she telling me, I gotta watch my tone. I gotta, smile when people come in the room. This led to me, being a, immature child at the time, not understanding everything that she's trying to convey to me, not quite understanding exactly what she mean by what she's saying. It led to me downplaying myself. It led to me dumbing myself down, man, to a point that I literally thought I was dumb. Like it went from, smiling when people come in the room, changing up how I feel, just so other people feel comfortable, to me dumbing myself down. Appreciate that. Appreciate that love as I seek to be loved in this expression of, to the point I had a teacher, I had two lovely black teachers, right? Mind you, baby boy to two older sisters, right? But I had two lovely black teachers open me up, man, like really just open up my chest cavity, make me feel like I mattered. They taught me, the first teacher was Miss J. You know what I'm saying? She taught me about the greatness of the skin that I'm in. She taught me about how being this little black boy, it mattered, it meant something. She taught me about the inventiveness of my people. She taught me how, even in the face of adversity, even though they want to paint this picture, man, like we was some suckers. Like we just let people step on us. Like we were just, you know what I'm saying? Like some peons, for the lack of a better word. But she taught me about the many inventions that we created, you know. Now, mind you, this was on a month that was considered, the time to talk about this. But that's when she keyed in on it. You know what I'm saying? Man, they around. I was seeing some other friends, man. But I'm glad I noticed that because I didn't want to come off like I was ignoring. Um, she taught me about the inventiveness of our people. It was then that I began to recognize that there are some ideas, some thoughts that I have within myself that are important. It's important that I don't let them just die down. I don't act like they don't matter. And so I began to open up my mind and my thoughts to those ways, right? Then the very next year, I go to the sixth grade. So in the sixth grade, I meet Miss Gary. Miss Gary is my homeroom teacher. You know, we starting to get to the point where we starting to exchange classes, right? Now the class that we would exchange to was a Caucasian lady named Miss Whitey. It's crazy. Later on, I would wind up in Miss Whitey's daughter's class. It's amazing how life works. But um, long story short, in Miss Gary's class, my homeroom teacher, you feel me? Miss Gary, she somewhat took a liking to when I was being me, right? She would get frustrated when I would, see the fellas come in the room, you know what I'm saying? And get on whatever they on, I was on. But Miss Gary would go, and she would be like, hold on one second. All right, Miss Gary, and I'm listening. Hold up. Miss Gary would say, stop dumbing yourself down. Stop playing dumb. Like, hold on. Why you only made a C? Why you only made a C? You way smarter than you want to let on. You way better than you want to act. I notice how when your homeboys come in the room, you change up. You change up your energy. Now I'm a young man at the time. I'm not noticing that it's that obvious. You feel me? I'm not noticing that it's that obvious. You feel me? I'm not noticing it's that obvious. Now this could have been because years later, my parents separated. I mean, years earlier, prior, my parents had separated. So, let me go with this single stuff. It never fails to see. Oh, okay, I got a phone. Alright, so energy would change a little bit when the fellas came. She would learn later that years prior, my father and my mother separated, and this had an effect on me. Um, as my father was always, man, that big dog. You know what I'm saying? That man was larger than life to me. Always was. And this is not a story that's meant to, make you feel sad for me, but it's a story to let you know that certain things happen in life to where when you go back and look over it, you'll be able to see and appreciate different things about your life versus be down on yourself, right? But Miss Garrett opened me up and I started talking to her and I even started mentoring other students. Miss Garrett said, she set us all down. It was, man, it could have been 20 to 30 young men, you feel me, from both classes, all in my grade level, right? We all sitting down. I think she had ordered all this pizza. You know what I'm saying? We at the lunch table. She had rewarded us for doing doing better in class. Let's just put it like that. Being a better representation of ourselves than we were when we first got to the school. Now, as we sitting at this table, Miss Garrett go around the table and she say, out of all of y'all, who y'all think gonna make it? Of course, you know, I'm looking at Miss Garrett sideways. I'm like, what kind of question is that? What kind of question is that? We all gonna make it, you know? Like, I'm not fathoming all the trials and the things that we gonna be faced with going forward in life. You know, I'm often told of how I think too much. I think too deep. Like, but again, I'm the only boy of my mama kids, bro. But as she began to go around that table and ask, who y'all think gonna make it? All of these people that I looked at as my peers, all these people that I looked at as my friends, and some so close that they was like my brothers. They done ate at my mama's table. I would sneak food out to some of them, you know, because everybody wasn't in the best, you know, situations. We looked out for each other, man. Let's get that straight. Cause they looked out for me in certain ways too. But we made it a point that we was gonna look out for each other. But when she went around that table, man, don't get me wrong, it was one or two of my homeboys that was like, they said they was gonna be the one. You feel me? Which they supposed to, right? But out of 16 to 30 young men, right? 15 to 30 young men, the majority, overwhelming majority out of two or three people that may have said themselves, they said me. So when people tell me I think too deeply, it hits me in a different light because, you know, as I'm coming into this year, y'all, man, I'm about to be 40. And my best friend was at this table with us. You feel me? My best. We was 12, bro, having this conversation. I'm not knowing. Just 2 years later, man, not knowing he was gonna be gone. I never forget, you know, it's times I still be like, I be wanting to let my hair down. I be wanting to play the game. You know what I'm saying? I just be wanting to carry myself like it's okay to just, you know, go vicariously through life, just live life. But I never forget, my mom had just bought me a video game, my sister. And I was sitting down, you know, because I was always on punishment. I was always held to a different standard than everybody else. Like I was always, man, pushed farther than everybody. And I used to think they couldn't stand me, bro. Like I used to be like, they hate me because I'm always in trouble. So I finally got the chance to play the game, man. After about, shit, I'm not gonna tell her how long it's been since my mama bought it. And she used to even buy me stuff and be like, See, I was about to give you this, or I gotta take it back because you don't know how to act. You know what I'm saying? But the whole time she not knowing, I'm over here. I'm trying to make sure my homeboys know that there's nothing wrong with who they are. I'm over here identifying with people who most people ain't gave a damn to even acknowledge their presence. So at times that would get me in, you know what I'm saying, some kind of trouble, but I didn't care, bro, because it was about the people. You know what I'm saying? It was about the love. It was about the man. But I never forget, man. I sat down, I turned the game on, I picked my controller. I got a phone call. You know, we had the cordless joint. I pick it up. It's my ex-girlfriend at the time, you feel me? Long time friend, lifetime friend, you feel me? I hear her voice. Say, what's up? Say, man, they killed Keith. And mind you, I'm only fucking 14 years old, bro. Bro just left me, you know? After our sixth grade year, he told me he was moving back with his mom out to South 8. I told him, like, yes, be alright with you. Cause you know we come from that wicked east, bro. Like, yeah, it's not no game. I know you gotta go and be with your mom. I could see it in his face, and when then I could do to, change his mind. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, I'm raised in the church, raised Baptist. You feel me? I'm raised that. Hopefully this mud ain't been messing up because I ain't been paying attention to the screen. But the most important thing as growing up was our love for God. You know what I mean? So me knowing my best friend finna go into a war zone, which we both came from. Like, man, bro, I gotta cover you though, cause I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if something was to happen, bro, and you was to pass away, I don't want you to go to hell. Here it was, 12 years old, in front of the Rose Park, praying hand in hand. It's like the world stood still for a minute. And once we got through, we assumed everything was gonna be okay. No matter what came our way, we assumed everything was gonna be alright. We was ready to face, fuck that, man. We was ready to face whatever came with our life that was preordained or destined for us since day one. And I seen bro maybe once, you know what I'm saying, after that. And he had this smile on his face. You know what I mean? He was so happy to see me doing what I was doing, and I was so happy to see him doing what he was doing. And it just so happened I was singing in the choir. Bro was an usher at the church that my family was visiting at the time. I never knew that was gonna be the last time I seen him. So I assumed but I didn't give much time to that thought. I just assumed it and let it go. I didn't live my life as though that was how it was gonna go because I would eventually get to a point that, excuse me, I started wondering if I was gonna live to even see 13, 14, 15, 16, you know. Then eventually I was wondering if I'm gonna be able to graduate because there were certain pressures that were being inflicted upon my young mind. Which brings me to the topic of conversation today. You never know when you're gonna go, but assumption will be your key. Assuming is a key to your reality. For a lot of us, we have assumed certain things about certain people. We assume, hey, this person was that way, this person is this way, all the way up until, you know, we wind up seeing tangible or proof in our reality that that's how it is or that's how they are. You know what I mean? Um, but I'm gonna go on record and say that it's because of your assumption that you wind up seeing these people that way. It's because of your assumption that you even wind up seeing the proof. You feel me? Of your assumption. You feel me? Life had to conform to that reality for you. Peace, family. Life had to conform to that reality for you. And since you took on that mind frame or you took on that to be true, life in turn configured it in such a way that that's all you could see. Appreciate you being in here. That's all you could see. Now, mind you, got cold out here, and I said I was gonna be me, authentically. Um, I'm about to find me a tree in a second, but you know. Be that as it may, the assumptions that we make on a daily basis give way to our reality. And from the simplest assumptions to the major assumptions, we assume that when we roll out the bed or we open our eyes that we woke up on this side of life, you know. Um, and I say that specifically because I've seen people be faced with heavy traumas, you feel me, and still manage to survive. And I've seen people just, you know, get hit one time and that was it. You know what I mean? It was over with because they assumed they was out of here. You know what I mean? One second. All right. Pardon self. Um, Again, like I said, they got hit once and they was out of here. You feel me? They was out of here. And not because of what they believed, but it's because of what they assumed. Um, you can assume certain things about life that will give way to the way in which you carry yourself in this life. Things that you will allow for yourself to even believe. You know what I mean? Again, it's not necessarily because of what they believe, but it's what they assume. And that's why I say assumptions is the key to this reality. Um, the things that we assume give way to the changes that we allow to take place, the changes that we allow to play a part in our reality. Because there's many things that's changing around us. Again, all possibilities are present at all times. But for a lot of us, um, it's not part of our assumption. So we don't, take part in certain realities. I could tell you certain things is going on, and because of how you look at life, you might not even entertain what I'm trying to tell you. Now I'm gonna be specific today, so I'm gonna go sit down and pull out my notebook about the specific downloads that I've had today to share. Um, Now mind you, I would love to stay in the light, honestly. But we gonna see exactly how it go. Um, Last night I came down here to the park and my good old pal was out. The owl was sitting out on the picnic table, or I don't really like that word too much no more. But he was sitting at the table, and it was almost as though he was just saying, like, you thought you came out here on your own, but I had greater plans to draw you out here. I drew you out here for a reason. I drew you out here for a reason. So based on my encounter with the powers that be, the energy that surround me, these are the things that it led to. um, These are the things that it led to. Right. The symbolism. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Me too. Tell people I don't need people to validate me when my reality confirms my existence. Okay. So one of the first questions I was presented with, right, was, are you willing to let go of your most painful moments? I just thought of you. Good to see you, Selah. Um, are you willing to let go of your most painful moments? And for those who have been here, one of my most painful moments was the loss of my best friend, and even the loss of my brother most recently. You know, um, it just felt like that same loss again, to the extent. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to my brother. All due respect to my brother. Um, but it was a signature to the lives of both of them that I noticed. A genuineness that I noticed from both of them that made me feel like it was like going through it again. You know? And they often talk about how when people traumatize other people to the point that they release them from their body, right? They constantly see that over and over, meaning they have to live with what they have done. And it's the same the other way too. Like when you're traumatized by losing someone, you kind of live with what's been done, and that's kind of how you learn to deal with or relate to problems. Like, I know such and such is gone because I had this feeling when my friend passed. So again, are you willing to let go of your painful moments? And I let go of the pain of that moment. You feel me? And I draw from it the triumph. I draw from it the glory of seeing something through. You know, you never know when your relief is coming. You never know when it's gonna be over for you or me. But appreciate you tapping the screen. If you could, if you would tap the screen, let's get the lights up. Let your energy be felt. You never know when it's gonna be over with for you or me, but you can kind of determine what you're doing, or you can determine what you might be caught doing when that time comes. Um, like I said, you never know when it's gonna be, but if you consistently concern your life with the things that are edifying, with ways that are becoming, it's a good chance that when that day come or that time come, you know what you're gonna be doing because you're gonna be doing what you've always done. So for me, like I said, I had to let go of the painful part. I had to let go of the so-called hurt that I may have felt from that situation, and instead be able to remember that moment and give thanks for that moment because it's through that moment I'm able to experience life at a different rate or vibration. I'm able to still have conversations with that energy, that being that was once in this physical body. I'm able to draw from certain conversations. I'm able to remember that I wasn't so full of myself in a moment of my brother having to transition somewhere, move to another side of town that we just came from, we grew up in, and we know all too well about, to the point that I noticed that I look back in that moment and I know what it felt like to know when somebody, I know what it felt like to know when somebody about to go. I know what it felt like to maybe a weekend before somebody um, transitions or takes their own life. I know what it felt like to synthesize those feelings um, and wonder like, why am I feeling this way when the acknowledgement that I'm giving right now to this energy is like I can remember a time when I loved this much and I went through this much and it made me no longer want to be here. Or I lost this person and it made me no longer want to be here. And now here it is that I'm feeling the signature or the energy that's similar, right? I'm recognizing that I have a second wind, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I got a different energy about myself to the point that this ain't happening. It just, um, there's times that, even my feelings get hurt and I wanna cry. I wanna cry. You know what I'm saying? I wanna cry. But and I can't say I don't express my hurt somehow. It's almost like my tears flow in. And don't get me wrong to anybody who, may have hurt me, maybe to get my attention, to see how much I care about them, you know. I did. I did. Just because I didn't cry don't mean don't think for a second I didn't love you. But I went through a lot at a young age that I couldn't express to others because again I was my mama's only son and I was experiencing things at a rate that my I just say this that my sisters wasn't at the time, or at least willing to say. You know what I mean? To a point that I began to assume an outlook on life that people don't want to hear nothing I gotta say. Um, People don't care how I feel, and that took me some dark places because at a certain point, in me being so concerned about other people caring how I feel or what I'm going through, I began to convince myself I don't care how I feel. No matter what I'm going through, no matter what's in front of me, I'm just gonna keep on pushing. Like, and again, I always encourage y'all to be present in each moment for a reason. Because when you're present in each moment, you can be, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, alive in these moments. Like, part of being alive is the amount of awareness that you have in these situations. And I could tell you about some times when I just had a vision. I could tell you about a time when my brothers leaked out all over me. I said that way. I could tell you about a time when I tried to put certain body parts back together. I know y'all. I know. I feel y'all energy. I can tell y'all about a time when I couldn't forgive myself for things at the time that I had no clue was about to take place. But somehow I still, I'm gonna get to that, y'all. I get it. I get it. Um, I had no clue. But because I was in that situation now, I could tell others as well as when I'm in those situations now, I'm able to know what's going on. And I'm able to protect as well as give provision to people who may be unaware that I never want to experience that. So look, there are two versions of you. There are two versions of you in each moment. And one must transcend in a way that it can't be the decision maker. It can't be what you assume at the time. You feel me? Like assume the position, assume that you are already there type shit. You feel me? It's a question you have to ask yourself, which one will you choose? The one that hopes, is always trying, and who wishes. And the way that you choose is what you give more attention to. It's what you give more attention to. What you give a majority of your energy to. This is how you choose. Um, and don't get me wrong, I get it. You know, some of the beginning phases of seeking to do right, seeking to be better is trying. It's a very trying time in our lives, but you can't stop there. You can't stop there. Um, or will you breathe life into the one that assumes it into being? Most already are living off assumptions about people. Appreciate the roses. I can smell them about people, places, and even things. Too often, based on the assumptions of the adults around me, I figured that my life would be better off in certain directions, certain careers, certain places. And even when my friends all sat down and decided I was going to be the one to make it, I assumed of what we called making it back then, how I would make it. And when those things didn't suffice or those things just didn't matter to me no more after a while, at times I felt like I failed. I felt I was a failure because the things I could have did, I didn't do. But it's for those same reasons I can look you in your eyes and tell you like I got a certain level of discipline that if I tell you I'm not gonna do something, I'm not gonna do it. If I tell you this is most important to me and that's what I'm focused on, you can bank on it. I know I look like someone who probably let you down before. I know I look like somebody who could have whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. But I realize that the desires to fulfill myself solely are not greater than the whole me. You feel me? That's why I always say when I'm in my right mind, and majority of the time I am because I am aware of the moment. You see what I'm saying? To the point that I know it can be scary to receive everything that you pray for. I know it can be scary to even be looking it in the face, wanting to do everything but move forward. You know what I'm saying? Your life bends to your assumptions, not how you hope or wish it would be. When you truly assume something, you live from it. To me, assumptions, right? It's the creative power. You know, some people would say it's the creator's power. I would go as far as to say it's the acknowledgement of the ways of change. Once you've seen things change so often, you know, it's almost impossible to not be able to. I can smell it in the air sometimes. And sometimes I wish I was wrong. I even convince myself to believe that I'm wrong. But then when it plays out and I recognize I have to come to a reckoning with my own eyes, my spiritual eyes, that I was given this vision for a reason. I was given this path for a far greater reason than to just try to fit in, to just hope that somebody would love me long enough for me to get past this middle passage or for me to get past whatever I may be going through to get where I'm going I can't tell you how many times it felt like it was over with for me. Yet and still it was like a whole nother path was laid out. A whole nother door that wasn't even present was open to the point that it started to get to the point it's interesting. It's interesting to see people's face when they think it's over with. It's interesting to see who's still there when the smoke clears. Who wants to come along later and say, I always knew you would make it. But I remember the brothers that was sitting with me at the table. Some of them aren't here to be able to tell you what they thought making it would be. But I guarantee you, it darn sure wasn't what we thought it was at 11 and 12 years old. Some people who may be further along than me financially, but had to had the risk and integrity. You know, when they say we eat our young, hopefully I can say that because it's another way that I really want to say it. But it's so true because we make decisions without thinking it through. We make decisions without thinking about how it's going to affect the ones that come behind you. So you effectively forego their opportunity to decide, their opportunity to have a life, and then be surprised when it play out. You know, everybody that knew me from a certain point in my life, they knew me for doing certain things, right? Mainly my artistic abilities and my athletic abilities. I would say mainly my athletic abilities, right? Um, but never paid attention to the man that was being expressed by way of this so-called athleticism. Some people did, because when it transitioned to me being a part of what my family was always a part of, people knew not to play with me because they knew the intensity in which I moved, the attention to details. I got y'all. I promise you, I ain't forgot about the paper. How in tune I was with my environment, because it's in those moments I was able to assume a level of calmness that allowed for me to make decisions. I assumed that it was important for me to be calm. Right. All right, assumptions, right? Going back to that, assumptions is the creative power I would say as far as you tapping into the ways of change, right? But assumptions is the creative power visualized, um, and you are the creative power individualized. So with it, Jazz, when you truly assume something, you don't hope you get it. You don't try to get it. You live from already having it. You live from that standpoint of I already have it. You live from that standpoint. It's already there. It's already happened. Um, you possess it in your consciousness. That's why I say be present in the moment. Because a lot of things that we say that we want, it's hard for us to gather it because we're not present enough in that moment to pay attention to them details, the specifics, what it took to get here, to the point that when you get that level of relief, when you get to where you headed to, you can't even really be grateful. Can't even really be grateful because some of us, we don't remember when we wasn't able to do. We wasn't present enough in that moment to be able to appreciate being able. We don't remember the can'ts. Having to tell your child, I can't do this. But we always tell our kids what. Don't ever say what you can't do. Take can't out your vocabulary. Okay. Just not right now. It's really just not right now. You possess it in your consciousness, and the world must conform to it. When you become so possessed with bettering yourself, you get to a point that you realize that, hold on, really just learning to express yourself better. Express the greatness that really is you, not you becoming something that you're not. The law is assumption hardens into fact. What you assume to be true to the point you yourself are persuaded must manifest in your life. This is how all change occurs. The reality you see is already your assumptions. It's made up of your assumptions, right? I'm gonna say that again. This is how all change occurs. The reality you see is your assumptions made visible. All of it is your consciousness made manifest through your dominant assumptions. Most wait for the proof before they assume their assumptions is theirs. Yet I say you are the proof. You are the proof. You everything that you already assumed about yourself up until now. You everything that you already assumed about yourself up until now. So why not recognize that the keys to the changes that you want is to assume something different about yourself? I already am, and so it will be. When you find yourself at them transitioning phases, remember we was talking about the resistance. When you find yourself at that resistance, you feel like there's a little bit of pushback, or it's harder to lift my foot after doing all these exercises. It's harder to get to that 100. It's harder than it was when I was first doing them calf raises at 70. Now I'm like at 98. It's getting harder to lift but I'm almost at 100. I'm right there. You get to that point, you say, I already am, and so will, or so it will be. I already am, and so it will be. I already am, and so it will. It is so. It is what it is. So be it. You don't become wealthy, then assume wealth. I mean, how many times we done seen people get certain things and then they couldn't hold on to it. You feel me? They let's just say they got riches, but they didn't have the wealth within themselves. So as sure as they acquired it, if it was gone. They got it and they spent it on things that didn't have no longevity. They got it and the law of sustainability is based on what you assume yourself to be too. It's gonna be hard for you to sustain something that you don't feel like you're worthy of. It's gonna be hard for you to hold on to something that you don't feel like you deserve. When you know you got it, it ain't nothing to, what I'm saying, utilize it for what it's for. I know people that make 20,000 in a day and they spend it that day because they know they can go get it again. But people that move from a state of lack, you feel me? They move from a state of lack, they hoard it, hold on to it, feeling like they'll never get it back. And all the while they holding on to it, it's depreciating. Yesterday's prices is not today's prices. In the 90s, $5 was boy, you get a little kid's $5, boy. He was balling out there. Who is this man? Give a little kid $5 today, boy. You could have depending. Depending on which child you talking to. You know what I'm saying? They might look at you like you could have kept that. That's what I'm supposed to do with $5. Um, you don't become wealthy, then assume wealth. You assume wealth and then it becomes inevitable. You take on the ways of the wealthy. You begin to value yourself and then things it just begin to flow to you. We used to always say it come with it. It come with it, bro. We ain't chasing nothing. It just come with this. You know what I'm saying? We ain't say it again. We ain't chasing nothing. It just come with it. Like this what come with that. Like, and again, based on your assumptions, life has no choice but to conform to it. Otherwise, you're not going to accept it. How many times folks done try to play in your face, but you didn't accept that? So yeah, they might have momentarily played in your face, but they had to move around. And they didn't get the desired outcome they was looking for. And not to mention, it didn't affect you because it was like, they playing with themselves. They think they gonna play with me. Not feeding into it. That was meant for somebody else. Take it, return to sender, return to sender. The person that you looking for, the energy that you looking for is not gonna come about. You don't find love and then feel love. No, you assume love and then love finds its expression in your world. As this goes against the law of sustainability. I ain't saying nobody ain't gonna care about you, but you're not gonna be able to appreciate it. I ain't saying nobody ain't gonna show you no love, but you're not gonna be aware enough to even recognize it. Can't tell you how many times people that been sitting right next to somebody and be like, man, nobody ever loved me. Hold on, hold on. Ain't that your old lady right there? Ain't that your old man right there? Not to mention, yeah, you been treating life like, you just want benefits around. Oh, okay. So you just around somebody that benefits from being around. Hmm. Well, you don't know the ways of love, so you can't even appreciate the love when it come around. Let me help you with that. Hmm. If you ever want to know if somebody gave a darn about you, pay attention to what they tell you. If the things that they tell you are only towards their benefit, only puffing themselves up, making themselves look good, you got your answer right there, who they care about. But if they tell you things that whether they told you or somebody else told you, or you came around to it on your own, you see that it works for your upliftment. It's then you know who gave a darn or who cared enough to tell you the truth. We assume all day certain people mess with us, certain people cool with us. But every time they come around, they always got you indulging in things that's taken away from your life. They got you trying to live their life, make you feel bad for the life you been living. Bro, I ain't asking her. You gonna ask y'all later? Can you go out? Hold on, bro. Mind your business. Mind your business. This how we rock. Well, I don't ask my old lady. I wouldn't do nothing like. That's why you ain't in my relationship. Whatever understanding you have between you and yours is the understanding you have between you and yours. The understanding I have between me and mine is defined in important lines that have been drawn for a reason. But when people don't appreciate you or appreciate what you got going on, they'll force you to, what I'm saying, blur the lines yourself. And if you don't value yourself enough to know that anything that's in my life, I manifested it. So I'm going to appreciate what's in my life. I ain't going to let nobody play me out of my position. What's up with it, brother? I ain't going to let nobody play me out of my position in a way that I'm going to look up and be feeling stupid. When you go back to your little hole in the wall or wherever you came from, you know, why make a momentary decision that's gonna cost you a lifetime? An investment is something that you do for longevity, something that you pay attention. Appreciate the flowers while I can smell them. An investment is something that you store up towards lifetimes or for longevity. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ancestors, what y'all working on? Y'all working on investment. Y'all shaking some shit up. Hold up now. Hold up. Wait a minute. They said, hold on. You shaking something up when you said that. Hold on. Maybe I need to repeat that. An investment is something you put up with the, maybe let me rephrase it then. Something you put up and assume the longevity of that situation. You know what I'm saying? With the assumption of longevity. Appreciate the likes, love. Um, and again, I wish I knew how to shut up sometime. But I also come from a background where my words at one point in time seemed like they didn't matter. You feel me? Seemed like they had no place. So I spent a lot of time being quiet and cultivating my words or what I was gonna say to people. What's up with the cherry bone? Um, so I don't speak from a place of just talking just to be talking, you know. But I'm gonna say that again. Our investments, what we put our time into, what we give our energy to, right? Mm. Should be from a place of longevity. So if you're doing something that you in the long run feel like, if I keep doing this at this rate, I'm not gonna have a life. I'm not gonna be alive, you know. Um, Respectfully, there's a lot of things that we think is living, man, that really ain't. And it's not until we allow for ourselves to think outside the box, not until we allow for ourselves to learn or indulge in different things different than what we know now, that we realize that my feet don't want to be still. We don't realize it until we step outside those boundaries of what we've always done. What always mattered to us, to do the things that might come to find out, shit, I like this more than what I was doing. I'm glad I stepped outside of what I once thought was risky. You know what I'm saying? To realize, hold on, no, that wasn't risky. That was an opportunity. And I'm glad I took that opportunity. I'm glad I took that opportunity to invest in myself with the time that I put into this. If I was to put it over here, I would be figured out. I'd be so much further along rather than that time that I keep putting into things that mean me nothing. Things that I've always done. You know, every time my birthday come around, we always, shit, the fellas, we used to always get a sack and get a bottle of shit. We was doing that every day if we be for real. So it really wasn't just cause it was my birthday. But when I think about how much money I spent, how much time I spent doing what I've always done and hoping and wishing for a different outcome instead of assuming a different life, assuming a different way of doing things. I say this not to be down on myself, not to be down on nobody else, but for you to recognize your power. When you realize you got power in the situation, it's not just little old me, woe is me. All right, hold up. Let's kick in the door. It's time to go. Get a move on. You hear me? Tell everybody where I walk came from around here. It's a new day. It's a new day. But when you feel like ain't nothing you can do about it, yeah, go on and, go on and keep on scratching the bottom. Right, okay, life. Go on and keep scratching the bottom until you realize you there. Some people, we have to hit rock bottom. I used to always ask myself, like, why come I don't never do nothing until my back against the wall? Then I started recognizing, hold on, those are the ways of change. When it seemed like everything is lost, now hold on, it's a different way. Y'all, somebody caught that. I know I did. Why come I don't do nothing until it feel like my back against the wall? Is that thought any different than when it felt like everything is lost? Hold on, this sound like the ways of change. Cause every time I thought I lost, I really won. Hmm. When my back was against the wall and I ain't see no way out, and then I made a way, it worked out. Ain't that the same? Man, hold up. So all I gotta do is change the way I look at it. Change who I'm giving credit to. And then you'll start realizing the people that when you start giving credit to yourself, only people gonna, man, my grace is saying nobody gonna be mad but the devil. Ain't nobody gonna be mad but the devil. You might have some folks that be like, man, I was trying to show you that. I was hoping you would get to that point. But ain't nobody gonna be mad for real that really just wanted you to get it. The ones that just really wanted you to get the point gonna be like, man, I'm so glad you get it. I'm so glad, cause we've been waiting on you. Slick, we've been waiting on you. We know once you get it, you know what I'm talking about? Shit, we all can walk in it. You got a piece. You got a piece of the puzzle that we can't be. Now you get the full picture. Man, those who really want to see you win, man, they're gonna always want to see you win. But those who don't really want to see you win, when you over there winning and focusing in and you ain't, man. It's warming up, so look, I ain't fuck it. Ancestors said it, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, blame it on me. Chris said me shit, I don't care. Long as the truth is off of me and I can't sit over here and feel bad, I ain't tell you. But a lot of y'all, it's getting hot outside. You don't even know how to control your distractions to the point you just going outside just to be outside. You just going outside just to be outside. If you don't question everything, the things that you don't question is gonna control you. I'm gonna say that again. If you don't question everything, meaning what is this towards my benefit? Where is this taking me? And if I keep doing this, if I do this every day, is it gonna get me anywhere? Ah, well shit, why I'm doing it at all? The things that you don't question will one day rule you. Matter of fact, they already ruling you. I know one day they already run your life. Cause you're busy, but you're busy being distracted. And I get it, you know. Them folks told you don't go get that bag, your lights getting cut off. But then we just get to talking about, you can get all the bags you want to, but not realize you wealthy. Not realize that you already the bag. And that's your ass, Mr. Postman. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. Ain't it Friday? Oh, okay. You was out there trying to get to the bag and the bag wound up getting you. I got too many good brothers of mine and transcended. We was trying to get to the bag. And somebody wound up putting a bag on your, but you weren't questioning what you was doing. You weren't questioning how if I keep going down that road, what is shit finna go? What it's finna lead to? But that friend that told you, hey man, you bullshitting. That friend that told you, man, come on, bro, you told that shit over me. Furthermore, shit, nigga, I was choosing you the whole time, so you really chose that shit over you. Cause I seen some shit in you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have told you not to do. If I felt like that was the best you could do, shit, won't waste my time. If I felt like me having these conversations with myself in front of you wouldn't better your situation, I wouldn't talk over your head. If I ain't think you was gonna get it, I wouldn't even say it if it didn't need to be said. But I feel like you're valuable. I feel like you worthy of somebody talking up to you rather than talking down to you. You feel me? I'm gonna play you up rather than play you down. What the song say? Put you down. You know what I'm saying? Let me put you up before I put you down. You feel me? I'm gonna put you up. I ain't gonna put you down. My bad. Sorry, not sorry. I'm in tune enough to know how things can work in my favor. I'm in tune enough to catch the message that's Gonna be a blessing. You feel me? Gonna keep me from stressing. I'm gonna get the message. I was talking to son the other day. I told him, I said, bro, you caught up in how people saying stuff to you, and I get it. Be in tune enough to catch it. But get the message, though. So therefore, when they were talking all that mess, like you weren't gonna get it. Because some people will tell you the truth, right? In the midst of tearing you down. Let me say that again. Some people will tell you the truth in the midst of tearing you down. But if you in tune enough to still get the message, man, your biggest haters, boy. The ops, nigga, man, the ops put me on. The ops put me on. They intended it for another reason, but you wind up putting me on. You put me on to something. People took us from one place to another with the worst intentions. With the worst intentions, but it wind up because we didn't, we didn't allow for it to change us to the point that, we didn't take away and say, hold on, that wasn't wrong what they did, to the point that we started doing the same wrong stuff. To the point that since we didn't change, now people see the error in the ways. But if we would have turned around and participated in the same things, don't get me wrong, I see it. I know some people would say, hold on, we doing the same things to ourselves. But I beg to differ. There is certain instances where you don't have no choice. Like, I get it. You're going for your bag. You're after the bag. You've been convinced that bag is more important. You've been brainwashed to assume that the means suffice towards the ends. And I would be lying or so full of myself to a point that I can't see where you get that from. I would be off basis to say, I see how you feel like, to not say I see how you feel like you don't have a choice. But that's why I feel like I've been charged to seek truth where it may be found. Whereas some people, we just trying to find comfortability. That's what they got you focused on, comfortability. Assuming comfortability is gonna put you on. And truth be told, it will. Because once you get so comfortable, right, you get to a point you can look around and see what's really going on. You get to a point that you be able to say, hold on, this ain't becoming or fulfilling of my soul. Oh, yeah. Nobody even talk to you about that no more, do they? They don't even talk to you about that no more. Nah, because since they sold you a whole little dream about a man sitting on the moon, then you find out that wasn't true. So since they sold you a whole little dream about somebody dying for you, then you find out, hold on, I gotta bear my own. You feel me? I gotta walk the walk myself. I gotta talk the talk myself. And then some of us just opted out and said, you know what? Damn if I do, damn if I don't. I'm just gonna wait till it's over with to figure out what's going on. What? baby, you might as well do it right. Cause you just gonna have to come back and do it again. Granny E, do you know what you was saying? I know you know what you was saying. Cause you would also turn around and tell me, baby, it might not make sense right now. But it's gonna make sense in the end. So it behooves you to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Be in your best interest to listen to what I'm trying to tell you, and I know the truth gonna hit you where it's meant to, right? Because from the standpoint that is hitting you from what you're going through, don't try to pick it up from what I'm going through. Don't try to pick it up from where I'm at in the story, but not from where you're at in the story. Let it hit there. Let it be something you can utilize in your life. Let it be something that can change the trajectory of your family. Let it be something that you get from this message. That you say, you know what, I'm better for the time that I spent with it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lose shit till you bless me. I ain't gonna keep on wasting no more time in situations that I can't find something that's gonna better me for the time that I put into it. I'm not gonna blame nobody else for what I could do. I can extract it. I can assume what I came here for. Based on what I've been looking for this whole time. Based on what I've been working towards this whole time. At that point, it ain't on nobody else, little baby. It's on you. You gonna barbecue a meal, dude. You gonna shoot the shit or get to it. But you can't bullshit a bullshitter, though. Meaning I've been there. I done it. And when I got out track, I had to run back. To the point that, you know what, I just stay where I'm at. I'ma stay on the path. No matter who leave, no matter who come. Don't get it twisted. I had high hopes for you. And not high hopes in the sense that I still feel like you can't make it. I know you gonna make it. But maybe you ain't been through enough. Maybe you ain't took enough losses. Maybe you like I was. Maybe you ain't rent enough. Maybe you ain't, you know what I'm saying, smoked enough. I don't know. Maybe you ain't drink enough. Maybe you ain't buried enough folks. To the point I ain't wasting a moment. I ain't wasting a second. I'ma learn everything I can up front, and I'ma get that on the back end too. And in the moment, it's so as aware as I know to be in each moment. Cause I know in that moment, that's why I get it. That's why I get all the keys at. That's why I recognize that I could assume that I'm wealthy. And therefore, when I see the wealth, I know where to capitalize. I know where to tap in. Oh, hold on. You was talking about structure. Oh, okay, so you talking about the supply and the demand. Oh, okay, so you saying, buy the rumor, sell the story, or sell the news. Oh, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. But if you ain't been seeking the information, if you ain't been studying, when it come time for that testing, when it come time for that test, we already know who's gonna fail. When it come time for that opportunity to come across your path, when it come time for you to recognize what's been sitting under your nose this whole time, is it gonna wipe your nose or you gonna wipe it yourself? Question everything and everybody. Why you coming to me with this? And based on what you came to me with, what can I do with it? How can I use it for my upliftment? Because that's the question you got to ask yourself. What you been questioning folks for? Or you been questioning them just to see what you got for me? What have you done for me lately? And then, should somebody ask you, what can I do for you? Do you even know what you need done? Or do you even know how somebody could be useful to your situation? Or you just been crying about it so long that you just got that down packed. You been, like me, maybe ain't nobody was listening to you, little baby. Like, I can tell when, people don't listen to motherfuckers. I can tell, because I've been there. I can tell when somebody just talking because they finally got somebody to listen to them, so they just getting their shit off. I know what that look like. I would and I also, hear somebody, nah, forget that. I hear my ego saying, well, shit, you still there? Nah. Because I done been in a room full of grown men. And every last one of them like, bruh, you just said something right there. You hear what bruh say? Damn, hey, listen to bruh. I done been in a room full of women. And because of the years that I spent cultivating myself, having conversations with myself, they like, hold up. Nah, he talking, having conversations with myself. They like, hold up. Nah, he talking. He talking. Saying that in and of myself, but I'm saying the same thing will happen for you. The same thing will happen for you if you allow it to. If you allow for yourself to be cultivated in a certain way. In those moments by yourself. In those moments that you find yourself alone. How you doing? And I had times where, like I said, I'm in a room with my bros. They like, hold on, is that such and such talking like that? Hey, y'all listen up. Listen to what bro talking about. Cause that's real talk right there. I done been in the house with my elders. And because of the type of conversation that I choose to concern myself with. They say, man, look, hey, come tell my old lady what you just said. To the point they like, how old are you? All the while not knowing I might be considered one age, but I stand on the shoulders of my elders. Meaning I don't just start where I came into existence, but I know I came into existence from the inception of time. Meaning this information that I speak from, this wisdom that I draw from, based on the experiences that we've had from the beginning of time to the point that I don't have time. I say from the beginning of existence, I don't have time to play. I don't have time to act like I don't know what's going on. No. So I assume we got an understanding. I assume that it's understood. We'll move forward as life begins to conform. Otherwise, what you don't question and what you don't assume will rule over you. You can be part of the waves of change. You can be the inception, the reason why change is happening. You can be somebody who noticed the change and jump on in, or you could be somebody that's just impacted by it. And you can tell the difference by how people describe their lives. Woe is me, somebody who is impacted by life. Fair weather, somebody who noticed the change and just jump on board. Focus, purpose driven, creators of change, part of the change, understanding how change takes place. That being said, I love you as myself, and it ain't nothing you can do about it, as we are one. And I'm so glad we in connection. Kinfolk. Now we see what it's talking about. Now that we see what we talking about, cause we just came over here to the round table, pulled up a chair. And broke bread. We just broke bread right now. Peace within, so you know it's peace that I'm giving out. And I know you about to have another lovely day. Cause look how we started it out.